Over the years since Disney has acquired Lucasfilm, there have been some really high moments and some really low moments. Some great moments have become as iconic as the original trilogy, while there are also some low moments that we kind of all wish had never happened. Now for me, those low moments never bothered me because Star Wars is a multimedia franchise that is big enough that I am able to pick and choose what I like. Star Wars, in my opinion, should be like a buffet. When you go to a buffet, you don't complain about all the food there that you don't like. You just stick to what you enjoy and you have a good meal. That's what Star Wars is like for me. So if you're looking for a video that complains about Star Wars, that's not going to be this video. I enjoy Star Wars for what it is. But I am a realist. I know that in the TV and shows and movies, there's been some moments where people go, I didn't really like that. I didn't really agree with that choice. But that's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about is something that I feel like hasn't missed, and that is Star Wars comics. Since Disney bought Lucasfilm and Marvel acquired the right to produce Lucasfilm comics, Star Wars comics, they've been putting out some great stuff. There has been content for the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, and now the High Republic era as well. Not only that, but a lot of people were bummed that when Disney bought Lucasfilm, a lot of that expanded universe stuff was classified as Legends. Well, if the Dark Horse era comics are what you enjoy, Marvel has been doing a great job of putting out collected editions like this, these Omnibus that collect all the Dark Horse era stuff. So if that is what you enjoy in your Star Wars media, it is still available for you to enjoy, and Marvel is making it really easy to get. But let's talk about modern Star Wars comics. When Marvel got the license to Star Wars in 2015, they kicked it off with two series. They kicked it off with their Darth Vader series, which is excellent, and they also kicked it off with their main Star Wars series, which was originally written by Jason Aaron. And this was meant to fill in the gaps between Episode 4, A New Hope, and Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. And the first part of the series, which is collected in this omnibus, I think it's issues 1 through 37, are written by Jason Aaron, and they are fun. They are good Star Wars action. I equate this to like a popcorn flick. There's really not a lot, in my opinion, going on here, but it's fun. It's a good ride. If you're looking for Star Wars content, this is great stuff. I enjoyed it. Specifically, if you're going to check this out, I would definitely read the Vader Down crossover series. It has some of the best Darth Vader versus the Rebellion stuff going on. Thinking like the end of Rogue One, that scene, if you know what I'm talking about, that's in a comic book series. It's great. I really enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say this is top tier stuff. Instead, what I want to talk about is the second half of that 2015 run, which is collected in this omnibus that just came out. This is Star Wars by Kieran Gillen and Greg Pak. And this contains, like I said, the second half of that run. And I was a little confused when I got this because this is not the cover that was advertised. It was a different cover with Luke on it. But I actually like this one a lot better because it has all three members of the main cast on it. And in my opinion, that is when Star Wars really shines. The stories in this book have Luke, Leia, and Han working together. And while there are a lot of things about the sequel trilogy that I really do love, that is one thing that I do regret, is that we didn't get to see those characters work together in their old age. So if you like the dynamic between those three, you'll definitely find that in the second half of the 2015 run. And like I said, the second half of this run was much more interesting to me than the first half. So minor spoilers as I gush about issues 38 on in the Star Wars 2015 run. One thing I really like about this run is that it is much more contemplative than the first half of the run. For example, the first story arc is called The Ashes of Jedha, and it has a lot of ties to Rogue One. In fact, in this part of the story, the team goes to Jedha, which has since been destroyed basically, and Luke learns about the sacrifice of Jyn Erso and the people in the Battle of Scarif. And it really humanizes Luke because instead of seeing him as this invincible rebellion leader, he starts to think to himself, man, I could not have done what I've done if it wasn't for the sacrifices of people like Jyn Erso. And he actually says to himself, I don't know if I would have been able to take that shot on the Death Star had I known how much was riding on it, how much people had sacrificed for me to get there. And seeing Luke think about this is really, really interesting to me because we all love Luke when he's at the height of his power. Like, that is super fun. We all enjoy that. but I also like keeping Luke human, and that section of the story really does that. But the softer, more contemplative moments are really matched with some high action-packed moments. You get to see things like Saw Gerrera's partisans team up with the rebellion, and there's some conflict there. You get to see a rescue operation for a Mon Calamari king, and you get to see Leia team up with Queen Trios of the Shu-Turan Empire as they double-cross the Empire, which really ends up being a triple cross as Queen Trios betrays Leia later. But that actually leads into one of my favorite arcs for Princess Leia. See, we often forget that Leia is a really tough cookie. It's easy to forget because in episode 4, she gets captured by the Empire. In episode 5, she gets captured on Cloud City. In episode 6, she gets captured by Jabba. She's constantly getting captured. But in this comic series, we get to see her become a really great leader in the rebellion. And she's constantly struggling with this idea of being another foot soldier and realizing that she has a greater role. And so after Queen Trios betrays her, she comes up with this whole plan for, I don't want to say revenge, but a way to make the Empire pay and cut off their resources. And as she's going through this conflict, she faces Queen Trios and she realizes that they are one and the same. Trios is doing everything that she's doing because of what the Empire did to her people. And Leia realizes that because of what was done to Alderaan, she very easily could have fallen into the same trap because she would do anything to save her people. And now she realizes the role that she has in the rebellion, not just as another foot soldier, but as the last princess of Alderaan and a future leader in the galaxy. Now, the main trio doesn't get to have all the fun. The last arc in this book is a really great story that involves Chewie and C-3PO going to blow up a planet that they thought was uninhabited, but they find out it is inhabited by some strange creatures. They're rock people. It's inhabited by rock people, and where other people would throw aside those creatures, which the Empire tries to do. C-3PO and Chewie have some really fun moments trying to rescue them, and it really calls back to episode 5 where Chewbacca is carrying around C-3PO on his back. It's kind of that vibe, and I love it. Now, I have been talking about all this from the standpoint of a Star Wars fan, not a comic fan. Some of the art in this book is not great. You can tell that it was just people drawing over stills from the movies, but I'm not reading this book for the art. I'm reading it because I love Star Wars, and I really think the Star Wars comics are in a really unique place where TV shows and movies have had their budgets blown up and they've got these grand expectations to meet. Comics are able to tell really intricate stories without having to worry about budgets, without having to worry about people's expectations. They're just able to really get to the heart of what Star Wars is and what a good story should be like. And I think all of the 2015 run is great, including Jason Aaron's part. You should definitely read that. But I think this second part by Gillen and Pak is really what Star Wars should be. It's emotional, it's hopeful, it's action-packed, and it's a lot of fun. And I definitely recommend that you check it out because it adds a lot of flavor and context to what happens in between episode 4 and 5 and sets up what these characters are like in Empire Strikes Back. And I can't wait for the current run to come out in omnibus format so that I can read that, because I think that's going to add a lot of context for what happens between episodes 5 and 6. So if you're looking to jump into good Star Wars comics, I would definitely check out the 2015 run. The Jason Aaron part is great, but the Gillen and Pak run is my favorite. You don't have to know anything other than Luke, Leia, and Han are heroes of the rebellion and they're fighting against the Empire. It's a ton of fun. I encourage you to check it out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know below what other Star Wars comics you like, whether they are canon or legends, and we'll make sure to talk about them. And we'll see you nerds in the next video.